Eagles running backs in 2023. Are we running back? Or are we letting these motherfuckers go? We'll see. What's up, it's your boy Cintron. Come back at you another news/analysis video. And I kid you not, that's my real name. So we're looking at the positions piece by piece. We're starting with offense. We did quarterbacks in the previous one, and now we're on to the running backs. A diminished part of the game, devalued part of the game in the modern day NFL, but still a key piece because there's only two ways to advance the ball. You run or you pass. So you need one of these guys, even though you may not put them at a premium. So let's see what we do with ours. And let's jump straight into it. So obviously the guy we had as our bell cow, the leader of that position group, was Miles Sanders, our second round draft pick out of Penn State. And it doesn't mean that he was locked up. This year he rushed for 1,269 yards with a 4.9 yards per carry clip. 259 times, double-digit TDs with 11, and finished fifth in the NFL in rushing yards. And he was named to his first Pro Bowl. So stellar season from him, man. But he's not really a big fumbler, but he had some issues and back-to-back games. Chiefly being the Dallas game where he was pressing and he just coughed it up, and I think as well as in the Bears game the following week. So it was just problematic. Him coming up, lame. Him not being able to hold on to the ball in those key circumstances. But I mean that's a small blight on him. He's very explosive, but he fell into some bad habits in some spots of trying to go east-west instead of getting north and south, and he left a lot of meat on the bone, to be honest, this year, even with the number of yards he had, as successful as he was. And I think he was hurt. I mean, he was hurt towards the tail end of the year in extending into the playoffs. So I know that probably affected him being able to limiting his ability. And I don't think we truly got to see the true Miles Sanders in the playoffs, especially the Super Bowl. I know that's not how he wanted to go out with Kenneth Gainwell, playing more effectively, and even Boston Scott, could be said that he played better than him in the Super Bowl as well. So I mean, the problem is he's a great player, and adds a lot, especially with Jalen Hurts in the backfield, making it easier for him to gain those yards and to rip defenses to shreds in the latter stages of the games. He is going to simply demand too much, and in an offense full of playmakers, he might be the fourth or fifth option to go to. And yeah, he's a good back, but he plays more like a scat back type game. And I want someone more decisive, is going to hit the hole and get the yards that are there. He's fast. He has good hands, even though he only had 20 catches for 78 yards, 3.9 yards per catch. 0 TDs. It's horrible. This is not the 50 catch, 500 plus yard dude we saw in his rookie season. Just amazing. The way Doug Peterson used him out. I don't know why we shied away from that ever. And then let him develop into, and I believe he would develop into an above-average route runner. I think there's a case to be made that he made that case during his rookie year. But I just wish we could pay everybody. We weren't living in the salary cap era, but we are, so we're constricted. We can only pay so many guys, and he's one of the guys I think we just let him go. And unfortunately, he's going to find greener pastures, no pun intended, not by way of a jersey. He's going to get paid, what, the going rate is for running backs. I think he probably gets about, probably 7, 8, per average a year on his deal. And it'll just be one of those things where, we regrettably had to let him go, but you also couldn't hold on to him because, we got to pay too many people this offseason, especially, this offseason. And just the chips fall where they have to, in this case. But I would love to keep him in a perfect world, but I just don't think we can. All All right, moving on to the next guy here, Kenneth Gainwell. He, had a solid year. I think he improved over last year. Was a bit more steady, especially when it came to the playoffs. That Giants game and the 49ers game, he didn't have even a good average, but he had the best average out of the backs against the 49ers. And he just hit the holes, decisively. And he's a smaller back than Miles, but also, he's really good out of the backfield. He's a cut above Miles in that regard right now. And that says a lot, especially him, only being in the second year. And he's only going to continue to get better if he works, puts in the work. And I think even if we keep him, I think he's still on that. He's only that second option. We're not going to look to, him to be our bell cow, to be our leader in that backfield. But a very, very, very good option to have there. And he's still in a rookie contract, so pinching those pennies as much as we can. I'd like to see us bring in Bijan Robinson in like I said, in the perfect world. We let Miles go, but we bring in a bigger back, just as fast, hits the hole harder, just decisive, and just more physical frame. So I think he has good vision too. So, and he's not afraid to use it. And like Miles is just playing like shy. Like he loves to get East West. I saw it in the Super Bowl. So I'm like, get the yards that are there, man. Just rip it up, put your foot in the ground, and tear it up. But he didn't. So for whatever reason. But we're talking about Kenneth Gainwell here. Sorry to disrespect your time, son. But I think he's automatically gonna stay because he's under contract. But moving on to our next guy, Boston Scott, the diminutive giant killer, who just goes crazy against the Giants, whether it be the postseason or the regular season. Has, I think, 11 touchdowns against him, and 15 total, which is crazy to think of. But he had a nice average. Didn't do much as a receiver. 5 catches for 15 yards and only a 4-point yard average. But he's a steady hand back there as well. You could do a lot worse with a number 3 back, and he'll come for the cheap. He'll be a restricted free agent. He'll be an unrestricted free agent. But I just think he has a really good value. He's found a good niche here in Philadelphia, and I don't think, unless someone's gonna splurge on him, which I don't see happening, it could happen. But I just think he's found a comfort zone here in Philadelphia, and he'd like to stay. And he can be had for the cheap. So that benefits both parties. It doesn't benefit his wallet, but benefits his interest as far as playing in meaningful games going forward. But I don't know how long we would extend him, but at least a year. And that moves on. That brings us to our last guy here, Trey Sermon, the unused player. He was inactive for majority of the year. We gave him a minimal amount of carries, but he has good size, 6 foot, 215. But trying to fix, or trying to address maybe those issues where, the reason the 49ers were willing to give him up, he gets like Miles, West and East too much. He does too much of that, dancing in the backfield like he's a smaller back instead of playing more towards his size. And he got 2 carries for 19 yards, which is great, but such a small sample size, you can't really say much about that. He's still on his rookie contract, so he's under contract, and we don't have to worry about paying him and it expiring, whatever. But we'll see what he does in camp, and like you're saying here, and I see if he'll be worth number 3 role, or less, or more of the same this year. But it really depends on him developing as a player to take the next step, to be a consistent runner, to get the yards that are there and not try to, dance around back there and just be decisive, be solid, be dependable. But I'd love to, on that note, said, Jordan Howard, I'd love for us to bring him back in that has that size and that it has a good amount of speed. Doesn't even have to be a burner, but if you can get the yards that you have vision, like Le'Veon Bell was just, one of the slowest backs I remember in recent history, but his vision, man, he could just make magic happen because he followed his blocks. He didn't do too much, dancing back there. North and south back, big back, soft hands as well. But man, he just got the game. It almost like it was, coming in slow motion for him. But yeah, I like I said, could be in free agency or in the draft with a starter. Maybe potentially. I mean, I don't know the guys out there that are available, but I don't think we're gonna spend big. We're probably looking for that second, third way guy that are that is underestimated or been misused, underused, and like we're like Howie Magic. So that's the running back position evaluation. Let's move on to some other news. So AJ Brown was on the Raw Room with Darren Bates and I forget the DB. He used to play for the Atlanta Falcons podcast. And he said this about the Jalen Hurts situation. He said, if Howie F around and found out that he he don't want Jalen and he ends up not paying him and lets him leave or like trades him, AJ said, ship me out to where he going because we're attached at the hip. And I'm like, damn, that it keeps being reiterated and people keep letting you know the value that Jalen Hurts has to this franchise. I mean, he's seen as the unquestioned leader, one of them. Definitely at our the quarterback position, that which is huge. You want the leader of your offense, which is most often the leader of your team because they have such a intrinsic value and great value, not to be conflated with Walmart prices, whatever. But you want that person to naturally be the leader of your team since they're such a key figure and play a big role. But he said, like, hey, send me where he's going because they're that dumb to fuck up. He's like, I already been through something like this with the Titans. You want to fuck around and find out and get BS? Hey, man, I don't want to stick around for that. So, I mean, he's down for his boy. They had a great year together. AJ caught 80-plus balls for 1,496 yards and double-digit touchdowns. One of the best receivers the best receiver probably in Eagles history that we've had. And they're just getting started. That was their first year. So they're going to fine-tune the offseason, work on things. And, man, I just can't wait to see the magic unfold. But, yeah, this contract thing, I think we're just we got to get it handled with Jalen. We'll address that again below. But next, Jesse Minter, Michigan defensive coordinator, is interviewed for the DC spot. I don't know anything about him. All I know is that he had one of the best offenses, even though he lost like half of his 2021 starters in 2022 that he fielded on the field there. They had a number 6 defense, like in college football, and just very highly regarded. I don't know about his his blitzing percentage, rate, his aggressiveness, how he likes to play his corners. How does he operate, or how does he let his line operate, and how do they intermingle the front 7 and the back 7 and the back 4, the DBs. But I do know he's very highly regarded. So, I mean, like I said, I'm not wholly opposed to the idea, but I would prefer to go with a grizzled defensive coordinator who has skin in the game in this league, somewhat proven. Evangelist, I think he'd be a perfect choice for me because he's aggressive. He's not a newbie, and he's had some success out with the Broncos. So yeah, and he's a former head coach, so that head coaching experience as well would bring a lot to that those defensive rooms, and I just trust somebody who's not passive like a little like Anna. But yeah, we'll see what Minter brings to the job. Don't know. But yeah, we have so many. I feel like overload almost, but I feel like since they're interviewing so many people, they'll take their time and make the right decision. But we shall see. I just really hope it's not a newbie. I mean, they could do great, but the difference between us winning the Super Bowl and not winning was a D coordinator. Crazy. That's sad, but and I'm tired of seeing us, not take that seriously. All the finer details, not just one side or a few pieces here and there. All right, next, Chris Shula, the Rams DB coach / pass game coordinator, also interviewed for the job, or he will interview for the job. I forget which one, but obviously I think we're looking at him. It's that pass game coordinator aspect. I think he probably I'm guessing. I don't even know. I know less about him than I do Mentor, but he probably brings blitzes, press coverage with the corners, and is not stale, aggressive. So yeah, I mean, I think those are three things we're looking for in a D coordinator. If you can do those things and then demonstrate that you have the ability to adjust and attack offenses like on the board, you'll at least be in the running for this position. So we want guys with experience and stuff like that, and who aren't afraid to actually coach. All right, the last thing we'll get to today, circling back to Jalen Hurts, his deal is aiming to be, get done by the Eagles. Hopefully, this is where they want it to get done by the combine. The combine starts next week, so I mean, it's right around the corner. And then after that, the draft. I mean, after that, free agency, then the draft. So a lot of discussions happen at the combine. Teams come there, collate, so they talk shop, talk business, gather around the water cooler and shoot the shit. But that is NFL business. So man, it's just another thing. Like, it just tells you, like, I mean, shows you the seriousness of Hurts. This would put the Eagles in great position to be able to maneuver in free agency. If they get the Hurts deal done, that his cap number is on the books, and then they get to to save cap. And with those cap savings, you can sign a slew of guys, a number of guys, and that's the difference between maybe having more of a repeat with the free agency success and the guys we were able to bring in this past year, and in past years where we weren't able to do anything because we're in salary cap hell with from some of the bad decisions and contracts that we had on the books that just came back to haunt us. We're kicking the can down the road with the way Howie likes to restructure and move money around. But man, it just like I said, it just speaks to Hurts. I mean, like, his focus. He's like, I'm focused on football. I'm hungry to get better and to improve, and I'll leave the contract to my agents. But he also knows, I don't think he'll take a max deal because I think he's just looking to also win and have enough money to bring in guys that will fill those pieces, because fill the pieces, the holes that eventually going to appear in the roster when other guys have to leave and maybe get cut, somebody gets injured, or just what have you. But if you're top heavy with your team, you're not going to be able to put people in place, put people in places, to have people in place, or space, sorry, to bring in guys when you need to, and you're gonna be able to want to make moves, trades, and signings and such. But anyways, that's it for the video. I didn't mean to go this long, but this is more like the usual number anyways. But on that note, fly Eagles fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.